going to be making a coaster set for you guys today. So I'm going to be using my rounds, and what I want to do is make a flower image inside of my coaster. I've done this once before and it turned out okay, but I think that my technique has gotten better since then, so I wanted to give it another go and kind of bring you along in my process here. So right now I am mixing up some resin. I am using Incredible Solutions Tabletop Epoxy, crystal clear. It is a 1-to-1 by volume ratio. And so I have in here 10 ounces, so 5 ounces of each. And I want to do 2.5 ounces in each coaster. The colors I'll be using today is going to be a combination. So I have the Artisan mica powders, and this one is the Shiraz. And it's this really deep red, almost has like a pearlescent tone. Kind of reminds me of a ruby or rose gold, which I really like. And then this one, I just bought this at Michael's and it doesn't have a color, even on the packaging, but hopefully you can see it. It's just almost like a pearly white with a hue of lavender almost. I really like it. I hope you can see the shimmer in the video, but I'm gonna be using that. And then in the center of my flowers, I want to use this champagne. It says silver champagne, but I think it looks more rose gold to me. And so that's gonna be the center of my flowers. So I'll show you how I do that in a second. And then my flower petals are gonna be used with just a basic acrylic white mixed in with the resin. And I have a piping bag. I'll show you how I fill that in just a second. Here is my piping bag. You can get these at Walmart, basically anywhere, Hobby Lobby, Michael's. Really easy to find. This one is quite large because it's used for baking, not resin, but it's fine. I've seen people use just like small Ziploc bags. Those work as well, but I just had these on hand. So that is what I am using. Okay, so I'm just mixing up my resin a little bit more. I already stirred this off camera because I feel like you don't want to be bored with that because it does take quite some time. Please follow the directions based on your resin that you're using on how long to stir. It does take quite some time. Mine takes about 5 minutes of stirring slowly to avoid as many air bubbles as possible, which is pretty impossible, but anyways. Okay, so before I put anything in my coasters, I actually used this mold release spray. I got this on Amazon. I can't remember how much it was, but I'll link it. It's really good, honestly. I used it on almost all of my molds, and yeah, they've lasted for quite some time. So it doesn't take much. That is about it. And then I'll just let those sit for just a second while I'm assembling my colors. So, let's see here. I got these from the Dollar Tree. Nothing fancy is used here. So I'm just gonna be separating some colors or some of my resin into this cup so I can make a different color. That should do it. And then for my centerpiece, what you want to do, or what I like the best, because it doesn't move quite as much, is you are going to actually fill your cup. I don't know if this is the right spoon to do this with your glitter first before the resin. And I want it quite glittery. Just because with the layers going in, I don't want it to get lost. So I usually go a little heavy on the glitter. I think that is good. Let me close this up before I accidentally knock it over. Okay, and then I'm gonna add the resin to this, and you just wanna add enough resin to get it wet, basically. Maybe a tad bit more, okay. Okay. Okay, see, that is very thick. It shouldn't move much as I am assembling my stuff. So you can see it doesn't really fall much, which is actually how I like it. Okay. So now I'm just gonna put a little bit of clear in the bottom of each one of these coasters. Just until I feel like it can spread to all sides. Okay, let me get my heat gun. And I just wanted to move them around a little bit. So the heat gun is great for a few things. One, it pops bubbles. Two, it makes your resin a little bit more liquidy, so it's easier to move around and maneuver. Now that is not going to be a good thing for all techniques you're using, but I just wanted to do it for the bottom so we can get a nice coat there. Okay, now I'm just going to use my other butane torch to get the other bubbles. Okay, now what we are going to do is the color. Actually, sorry, I'm kind of all over the place. I'm gonna cut my piping bag so I can get my white in there. This piping bag is just a little too big. Okay. So yeah, now my piping bag is much smaller, which I think is more realistic. Set that aside real quick, and then I will mix just a little bit of white. You don't need much for these flowers, if I'm being honest. It goes such a long way. So I have my clear in here. Oh gosh, my hairs are already getting in there. That is about all of the white that I put. And we are going to mix. This is an old silicone cup, so that's why you see other colors on there, but it's dried. I just didn't want to pick all of it off right now. It's totally fine. As long as it's cured, you don't have to worry about it. So if you see me pick up my popsicle stick and you can't see the color of the popsicle stick behind the pigment,
That means it is nice and opaque. That is a good test to see, to figure out what color hue you want, if you want it to be a little bit more transparent or if you want it opaque like I do for this one. That is a good test. Can be deceiving sometimes, so definitely the popsicle stick is a good measurement. And I'm just going to pour this into my bag. I'm not going to cut the hole for the piping yet, not until the end. Okay. That honestly is probably more than enough. So I'm going to twist this up and then set it aside for just a second. And place in here. Okay. Now let me get my main color, which is going to be this Shiraz, like I showed you earlier. And for video purposes, let me put this in the middle so you can see. I'm going to start off with a decent amount. This should be plenty of color. This pigment goes quite a long way and I really love it for that. Okay. So you can already see how much it is changing my clear resin. Definitely scrape the sides, scrape the bottom, make sure you're mixing thoroughly. If you leave any pigment unmixed, you can see the powder clumps in your final product. And that's not always what we want. Okay. Okay, so that popsicle trick that I was mentioning earlier, we're gonna do that here. Let me just mix it a little bit more. Okay, so I feel like when I lift the popsicle stick with some pigment, you can still see the popsicle color slightly. But I'm actually thinking it's a little deeper red than I wanted. So I'm gonna add some eye candy. Don't ask me how to say that. Dye? Not sure. But it's like this pearly white. So I'm thinking it will be a good balance in this Shiraz color. So let me start off with a little bit. Just that. I want to see what this does. I feel like I can already see more pearliness to it and slightly lighter shade, but I am liking this a lot. I think it is a good place. Okay. Okay, I think that's good. I'm gonna leave this one. I like it. Now for the next one. I'm just gonna continue mixing it in here just because that's where my leftover resin is. There is black, but I promise the black is not being mixed in. It is just dried, cured from my previous project. Okay. So I have this lavender one that I showed you earlier. I have the lid off, so I'm just gonna tap until I think that's a good amount. This definitely seems clumpy.
in that little bottle, but let's see what we get. I'm already really liking this color. Cool. Okay. Yeah, that is a really, really pretty color. I hope you can see down there. Yeah, I'm not sure why this brand does not have their pigment colors listed, not even on the box. Maybe my box was just missing something. But I would really love to know what this is called because I think it is absolutely beautiful. Again, here it is. Fina Bear is the brand. Fina Bear, I don't know how you say it, but that is the brand. You guys need to put your color pigments on that bottle. Okay, now let's do our inspection. Make sure we don't need to pick out any hairs. I have these wonderful, oops, maybe, yes. I have these tweezers. They're so tiny, but so amazing for getting like little stuff out. And I can see I have some stuff in here. A little hair at the bottom. Okay. I just want to get as much out as possible just for a better end result. Okay. We are going to go in with the Shiraz first. And I'm going to just spin this cup. And I think I'm going to go around the edges. Okay. Thinking this one needs a little bit more love. Okay. Now we're gonna do my lighter lavender. I'm loving that color. Okay. Now, before I put my centers in, I want to blow this out just a little bit. Okay, yeah, you can see how much those move it, that heat gun, but I love it. Okay, this is gonna take 2 popsicle sticks. This is really thick. I guess thicker than I normally do maybe, but I don't know, I'm liking it. Okay. And into the resin. Oh yeah, I love this color. thinking more. Oopsies. Got a little outside of the center. That's okay. Now you guys are a part of my thinking process and whether I need more or if I should stop. And again, the reason why I made the glitter part so thick is so it doesn't spread out as much, because I feel like you don't want your center to be too big. And if you've used resin before, you know how temperamental resin is and how much it can move. Okay, I'm gonna pop some bubbles. Oops. Thought those were bubbles. That was definitely glitter. And I twitched it just a bit. Okay. Now what I want to do is move this slightly. Not to block the glitter, but to mimic flower petals already, even though we're gonna be dropping some white in here in just a second. Now I will mention that some resin artists use a white pigment paste for the petals when making their flower coasters. I do not have that. And it seems hard to come by here in the US. Maybe I'm wrong and just not looking in the right place, but I've not been able to find it. So I am using an acrylic, but I do feel like acrylics are heavy too, and that was one of the reasons why these resin artists were using the paste, for heaviness, so it doesn't move as much, similar to why I did the glitter so thick. So we'll see. We will see. Okay, I just cut the tip of my piping bag, and yeah, we're just gonna see what happens. Okay, let me do a test in here. That seems okay. Okay, let's start with one. Okay, number one. Okay, number two. Not sure if I should have gone all the way to the edge. As you can see, it's not a full, like, round petal up at the top, but we'll see. My resin is already starting to get warm in this bag, so it's actually a good thing. That means it's in the process of going through that curing stage, so it'll harden quicker, and that's really honestly what we want when we're making flowers, because we don't want it to move too much, because that can really change the final outcome of what you're going for. But it is the beauty of resin, I feel like, because as artists, you can have an idea and a vision, and it usually comes out a different way. It's a struggle. Yay, I'm loving these already. Not gonna lie. Oh, don't know what happened there. Okay. So part of me thinks I need to torch it, and the other part of me really doesn't want to mess with it. Oh gosh. Because like I said, when you heat up something, it will change the thickness, which can kind of ruin what I got going on. So I think I'm just gonna torch it rather than using a heat gun, because that moves it a little too much. You know? Okay. Okay, I am going to cover these bad boys and then go put them on the level shelf that I have, because this is not super level, but I will be back with the results, and then we're gonna do a tray tomorrow. Thanks for following along. Okay, you guys, it is time to unmold these. I'm really excited. They changed quite a bit, especially this one. But I think they are beautiful. I like how it moves and kind of gives it this like motion effect. I think that's pretty cool. So let's get started. And we have a nice thick side, which I like. I like the thicker coasters. I honestly would have gone a little bit thicker, I think, for my next ones. I'll have to sand them just a little bit. So here's the back side. So as I mentioned before, the white is heavy, so it does sink to the bottom if you are using it more, even if you put colors underneath it like we did. But I think this is, oops, absolutely beautiful. I love the little amount of glitter. Let's see, can you see that? Okay. Yeah, I'm really liking that. I love the colors. Backside's cool too, even though they're just dots, but pretty cool. And then I will edge these in gold, and then at the end of this video you'll see the final product all complete. So let's finish unmolding the other ones. Here we are on the back side. Nice thick side. You can see, hopefully you guys can see how the white runs down. But if you're looking at that Shiraz color, you can see that the clear is still in front of it, whereas the white is sinking down to the bottom all of the way. But I think that's cool. And then in the light, I don't know if the phone is, or the camera is going to show it, but you can really see that pearly lavender that we use, really shimmery. And certain light, you can see it really well. It's really cool. There's that one. Okay, next one. This one got kind of funky. I don't know how I feel about it. There's the front and the back. I don't know what happened. I wonder if when I moved them, this one moved around a little bit, but it's like almost pointy. But that's okay. Trial and error. That's how it goes, especially with resin. Oh, that is not a part of it. There we go. Okay. Pretty nice thick side. There's the back side. I honestly really like the back sides too. I don't know why, but I think it's a pretty cool effect. But yeah, here they are. And I am going to go, I'll probably let them dry another hour or two just to get that full cure. They are hard enough, but I like them to be fully cured before I start putting the edging on. But what I use for the edge is, let me find that marker. It's honestly a lifesaver. So I use this Deco Color Premium Prime Premio pen. It's an alcohol-based, or an oil-based, sorry, metallic paint marker. And it's super metallic-y. Hopefully I can give you guys an example just on, let's see. I don't know if this will work, but I don't know if you guys can see that. Just how metallic it is. And it's just, I mean, it's so handy, and it's easy to get the edges where you want them. If you want a little bit of a lip, it can really give that effect. And it's so easy to use. So yeah, I hope you guys can see that on camera, but it is beautiful. And I think, I want to say, I got these at Michael's, but I think each one of these were about $5. I got one in gold, I have one in copper, and I have a different brand in silver, but that one is just as good as this, but I do not know where that is right now. But yeah, definitely pick these up if you're looking for an alternative, because painting by hand gets old really quick. I know from experience, so definitely pick yourself up one of these markers, and it is a game changer. Okay, so I'll see you guys in a second with the final product.